Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. So today we've got the titanium stick 225 welder from Harbor Freight, and it's a DC inverter arc welding machine, and the normal price on this is $2.99 at Harbor Freight, but we did find it on sale in the Inside Track Club for $2.59. So let's check it out. So probably the first thing to know about this welder is it will run on 240, or it has an adapter to run it on 110. So depending upon what your power supply in your garage is, it's pretty versatile. Another feature it has is you can run either DC positive or DC negative with these DINS connectors on your electrode holder and on your ground clamp, simply by plugging it into the machine and giving it a half-turn twist to lock it in. So this would be DC electrode positive, which is what we'll use the majority of the time, or you can plug it in here and do electrode DC negative. Your ground clamp has the exact same DIN connector and simply would go in whichever one your electrode holder did not. Another awesome feature of this welder is the whole machine only weighs 16.5 pounds. So it's very portable. The rated outputs are 70 amps at 40% duty cycle on 120 volts, or 225 amps at a 20% duty cycle at 240 volts. The included electrode holder is rated for 200 amps. So I guess if you're using it on 240 and crank it all the way up, you might be a little bit underpowered. The biggest complaint I see on this welder is people don't like this electrode holder. And I've got a better electrode holder that I probably will switch out to, but to start off in this review, I'll use this one. I've seen a couple of complaints about this ground clamp, but actually this ground clamp is an upgrade to what I put on my titanium Easy Flux 125. And it works fine on that. So here is the electrode from my old AC Tombstone box, which is actually, mine is from Craftsman, but it has, aside from being a lot larger and heavier electrode holder, the wire on this is number 4 gauge. The wire on the 225 is a 6 gauge. The titanium stick 225 is rated at 225 amps. My old Craftsman buzz box though is only rated at 230 amps. So it definitely has a lot larger wire size for the electrode and the ground clamp. I don't anticipate either the electrode holder or the ground clamp or the wiring for them to be a problem. But if they are, they're certainly easy to swap out. Okay, let's look at some of the controls and lights on the front. So this light just indicates that you do have the machine turned on. This temperature gauge is for your duty cycle, and if that trips, you'll have to stop welding until that light goes out. Now you've got a toggle switch here that you turn it here for 120 or there for 240. And a lot of the welders that I've seen in this price range automatically sense what voltage you're in and adjust accordingly, but it's certainly not a big deal to do this. I've got plenty of 240 volt outlets in this garage, as well as some 240 volt extension cords. So I'll be running it primarily on 240 other than to test the capabilities. Here it lists what gauge to use for what voltage. So the 120 is the small ring here that's got the dotted lines. The 240 is this outer circle that also has these white lines. And then if you're welding 60-10 rod, you're to use the green settings only is what the book says. Now I've never welded 60-10, but I'm assuming they mean these outer deals. So on the 220, you can set this, I believe that would be 120 for your E60-10 rods. But honestly, I'm not that, as a hobbyist welder, I'm just not that knowledgeable in it. Speaking of the book, it's got some interesting information that's actually quite useful for somebody like myself, a hobbyist welder, or somebody that maybe got the welder that just wants to try it out. It talks about how to practice welding and then also how to test your welds using a strike test. It also talks a lot about the troubleshooting things of the profile of your weld, weld not adhering properly, and shows you some of the possible causes and solutions. And then finally, what looks like some good welds and also some common problems like porosity. There's crooked or wavy bead, and then also excessive spatter. So it's actually got some really good information on this, and I think one of the better manuals that I've seen. On the back, we've got the on-off switch. So on the top of the machine, we've got a pretty good graph defining kind of the duty cycles and what that means if you're fuzzy on it. And then also a settings chart that lists the electrode type, the size, and then the thickness of the metal and what amperage rating you should start at. Alrighty, well that's pretty much enough talking. Let's strike an arc and burn some metal. Check this thing out. Okay, so to start off, I've got a plate that's 1/4 inch thick, and I'm just gonna run some beads. And I'll start with the 3/32 7/18 rod. We'll also try some 3/32 60/11 rod. Okay, and what I can tell you is that weld was way too hot. Let's chip off some of the slag. Okay, and actually that is just way too cooking hot. Look, it actually melted through this 1/4 inch plate. So let's turn that down quite a bit and see what we can do next. I'm gonna put this on 120 and let's try it again. Okay, that looks a lot better. Pretty nice. Not bad. Good. Flexible. There we go. Okay, so these beads don't look too bad. This was the first one, and it was just ridiculously too hot. These three aren't too bad. They're on 120 amps, and it looks like pretty good flow, and it's, like I said, just sitting slightly above, which I think is about where you want it. So I think that would hold if it was used to glue some metal together. Let's try our other. Okay, these were the 70/18 rods. Let's go ahead and try the 60/11s. Okay, and these rods say you only go up to, where is it? There it is, 40 to 90 amps. So let's put it on, we'll say 75. Okay, so we're still on 220, so there's 85, there's 50, so put it about in the middle there. I'm gonna guess that's around 75 amps. All right, that is smoking hot, but let's knock that slag off and see what we've got. That last bead really felt good, and I could see really good. Look at that. That's the best weld I've done yet. It's the same thickness from this end to that end, and it's got plenty of nice little ripples there. So we'll see, that was 3 30-second 7D18, and it was on 85 amps. So that might be the setting we want for that. That's 6011. I'm not real happy with any of the welds I got on that. But like I said, this is just practice. Alrighty, so that's pretty much our review of the titanium stick 225 DC inverter welder. And I'll tell you what, I really like it for the size of it, the portability of it, and the performance. For me, it's going to work perfectly. So your minds may vary, but for $259, I don't see how I could go wrong. Again, I'm just a hobbyist. I'm not out here trying to make a living with any of this stuff. And in fact, you can kind of see I'm not a very good welder, but I sure do enjoy it, and I'm getting better. And this tool is going to help me. So thanks again for watching. And if you give us a thumbs up if you liked it, it definitely helps the channel. And we definitely ask you to subscribe to see more. So have a great day and be safe.